You can't trust corporations, except for the corporations that are sponsoring my podcast.
And here's the good news. Branch Basics is now available everywhere you shop. And for anyone grabbing the premium starter kit, you can get 15% off at branchbasics.com with our code REALFoodology.
I'd like to give a shout out to this company here, who is a true altruistic company that does, however, pay me.
Welcome back to Making It Awkward. I'm Jessica Wilson, clinical dietitian, author of It's Always Been Ours, and Nuance Seeker. You can find me on Instagram at jessicawilson.msrd. This is an independent podcast brought to you by people who love to fact check. You can watch the show on YouTube, and to sustain these conversations, you can join the Patreon for as little as $3 a month. My dad will welcome new Patreon members to the community.
Thank you, Anna and Parker, for joining the Patreon.
Way to go, Dad.
Yeah, your contribution is much seen, appreciated.
You can also rate the podcast and review it on Apple Podcast, which my dad will read. You can send an episode to a friend and share the social media posts about the episode so that others can find it. You can buy awkward merch on my website. Today's episode is with Trampus Harmon, Making It Awkward's farmer in residence. I asked him back to the show to provide us the facts, context, and nuance that was missing from Courtney Swan's Real Foodology podcast about glyphosate, the active ingredient in the herbicide Roundup, and how she feels about the state of farming today. We discuss the influencer stoking fear to build an audience versus having an understanding of the full picture. You can hear the dramatic music from the Real Foodology intro here.
The agrochemical companies have their tentacles so freaking deep in our government that it does not matter if a Democrat or a Republican is in office. We shouldn't all be having to live in a world where we have to be so incredibly mindful about everything we put in our bodies. We should just be able to go to the grocery store and buy food that's not poisoned. These chemicals are showing up in over 80% of Americans' urine. We're finding glyphosate and these other farming chemicals in human breast milk, in babies' placentas, in our blood, in our rainwater, in our drinking water, on our food, in men's balls.
We discussed the claim from the MAHA Moms that this is not what we voted for, and Swan's false assertion that the dose makes the poison no longer applies. Trampus gives me some things to listen for when I attend the People versus Poison rally on April 27th at the Supreme Court that will protest Bayer, the company that acquired Monsanto. Trampus shares a bit about the grant proposal he wrote in college titled A Study of Long-Term Effects of Herbicides and the American Family. And I couldn't let him leave without asking him about the proposed cuts to SNAP. We're getting right into the conversation, and I'll provide additional information in the outro, including the specifics of Trump's executive order and the case at the Supreme Court that is scheduled for April 27th. Trampus, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I appreciate having me back.
And can you do a brief intro, who you are, where you've been, what you've done?
I'm Trampus Harmon. I'm a veteran of 20 years in the military, and I grew up farming. We did dairy farming growing up, and then after retirement from the military, I went back to beef farming, and I'm a graduate with a Bachelor in Science in Ag Science from Oregon State University. And I currently sell beef, farm to table, direct market.
Awesome. So you are a MAHA winner. The people love you, in theory.
In theory, yes.
In theory. A star. I sent you Courtney Swan's Real Foodology podcast, Glyphosate and the Future of Food, What This Moment Means for All of Us, where her guest was her husband, which I thought was an interesting choice to talk about all of this. It goes through glyphosate, Bayer, Monsanto, and then she starts talking about the People versus Poison rally, at which I will be at the end of this month. So this is the lead up to all of that. What were your thoughts on the podcast?
It was incredibly painful. I personally really like dealing in facts. This is the facts.
Okay.
And it just felt like it was a constant appeal to emotion throughout the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you should be upset because of this, and you should be upset because of that. And it's like, why are you pushing so much outrage? And even when you use facts, I feel like she was putting them out of context instead of, hey, this is the context of that. Oh, well, they found this, or it's banned here, or etc. But they don't have any context behind that. And when I listen to podcasts, I really enjoy subject matter experts who are doing research in the field.
Sure.
As opposed to, me and my wife talking about how this makes us feel.
Right.
That's me.
The husband as the guest. It could have been anyone. Could have been anyone, even field adjacent to farming or food science or whatever it was. And it was her husband, which was a interesting choice. Megan Saichu was the one who sent this over to me. She said the whole time she was wondering, why is Courtney not talking to a farmer about this? So, yeah.
And I mean, it was, one of the first things she does is she makes a comparison to organic versus conventional farming. And hey, organic farming can have the same yields as conventional farming.
Mm-hmm. And then it's really, really easy to do it organically. But we have a lot of evidence showing in Common Ground, also in the film Kiss the Ground, that there's another way to do this. So we can actually farm regeneratively. And what happens is not only is it creating about the same amount of yield as conventional, it's also setting us up for a lifetime of being able to actually have plantable, healthy soil.
But then in that study that she talks about, it's in ultra extreme temperatures, and it's not real world. If you look at the actual facts behind that, where they do massive studies across the United States, and they take all this into account, organic farming versus conventional farming has about 23% less yield than conventional farming, where you're using sprays, you're using fertilizer, that kind of stuff, as opposed to just organic. Granted, organic farming can use some sprays and some fertilizer, but in general, that is a huge thing that she just skips over. Mm-hmm. She's like, oh, well, organic can work if you use it in this super isolated, in your planter in your backyard, and you're the only one taking care of one tomato plant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then she doesn't ever speak about, she's like, oh, these farmers are in debt to Monsanto, which is just a crazy statement in general. But she never talks about the reason that these farmers have $1 million pieces of equipment is because they're harvesting tens of thousands of acres, hundreds of thousands of acres, some of these farmers are. Mm-hmm. And their equipment is running 24/7, so they have to have reliable equipment. And she goes on about, well, if we just did organic would still need that equipment, as well as it would need additional labor for weeding and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I researched it and looked at the studies, and organic takes about 33% more people to do the same job as conventional,
mm-hmm.
because a lot of that stuff has to be done by hand now instead of being done by chemical application. And we already are short. I think the last study I read was 155,000 people in the farming community, for workers.
Yeah.
So where are we going to get these additional people to do this? If we ban Roundup tomorrow, and okay, we're going to go back to organic farming practices, it's going to cause a lot of problems. But, how do you address that one? How do you make someone want to work in the fields all day?
Especially with our immigration policy and people being picked up from farms and deported.
Yeah. I mean, the U.S. had a solution for how to make people work in fields a while ago, and that was not really a positive thing in the U.S. And so, yeah, I think we had a whole war about that. So maybe we shouldn't go back to that. So, yeah.
You think? Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Once in a while, I'm just like, maybe that's not a good idea to go back to that. Maybe we are, we don't dismiss science and just stick on the route we're on.
Mm-hmm. Another poll on the emotions was at the top. It doesn't matter if we have a Republican or a Democrat in office. This is going to be a problem. Roundup's going to be a problem. Regardless, the only thing that changed here was that we trusted Bobby, basically, and he told us to vote for Trump. But if Kamala was in office, it would have been the same. And I was like, oh, the executive order wouldn't have happened if Kamala was in office.
I'm like, oh, I bet you there's going to be a lot of unhappy people about that. And I sort of feel about it's nonpartisan. That's a bunch of BS. It feels like, oh, I can't be racist. I have a black friend.
Yeah.
I voted for Obama twice.
And I have been on both sides of the aisle where I have voted for both people. I voted for Obama twice because Obama was talking about GMOs.
I feel like I hear that constantly from people when they justify their support of Trump. Oh, I voted for Obama. Oh, I voted for Obama. And it's like, okay, great. But he's not in office. That's not today. Like, yeah.
And it was the executive orders required because now all of us are talking about glyphosate and its harm. So people were blindsided. And I was just like, how did you vote for a president who is literally himself a corporation, as you were talking about how corporations can't be trusted? Like the idea was that you can't trust corporations because of their influence. Yet you're going to vote for a person who, one, is a corporation, two, like his whole persona is being influenced by corporations. So the idea that you didn't vote for this because you don't trust corporations is the wildest thing for me, number one. Number two, even if you had voted for Kamala Harris and it was status quo, if we still had our glyphosate everywhere, you know what we wouldn't have had? We wouldn't have kids in cages. We wouldn't have ICE detentions. We wouldn't have all of the terrible things that is. I don't know what you thought about that.
I was blown away by it. It was just, you can't trust corporations except for the corporations that are sponsoring my podcast.
And here's the good news. Branch Basics is now available everywhere you shop. Target, Target.com, Amazon, and of course, branchbasics.com. Tossing the toxins has never been more convenient. And for anyone grabbing the premium starter kit, you can get 15% off at branchbasics.com with our code REALFoodology. Visit justthrivehealth.com/RealFoodology and save 20% off with promo code RealFoodology. See the difference for yourself and get a full product refund, no questions asked. That's justthrivehealth.com/RealFoodology. Be the best you with Just Thrive.
I'd like to give a shout out to this company here, who is a true altruistic company that does, however, pay me. It's sort of like, wasn't it Kristi Noem who went on and was talking about you can't trust us, the government? It's like, are you the government?
Right.
Yeah.
RFK starting his new podcast because you can't trust the government.
I'm literally speechless on that. I don't know how to respond to that. It's like, you can't trust the government. You are one of the highest ranking members of the government. You literally have the ear of the president daily.
You talk more than anyone else in the government. So we can't trust. And we can't. So yes, do your podcast because we can't trust the government. Yeah. So we wouldn't have that either if you didn't mobilize people to vote for Trump. So
yeah.
So that.
Yeah. I mean, and I think her name was Leslie, who he had on the podcast.
Yes.
Okay. So she talked about, hey, this is what we voted for, what we wanted. And there has been a lot of pushback. And you'd asked, is there a lot of pushback? Do you see a lot of pushback? And Joe Rogan has started to, hey, this is not what I wanted, which, again, Joe Rogan's one of the people who helped get him elected, and people like influencers like Theo Vaughn were like, hey, this isn't what we wanted. And it's like, but he has always spoke the truth about who he is.
Exactly.
He's been a liar constantly, and you could see this. I mean, I know that seems like a oxymoron of, he spoke the truth, but you can see that he's a liar, and he's constantly lying to you. So why are you surprised by his lying? Yeah, that's more, I guess, my point, or a better way to make that statement. Yeah.
Totally. Yes, he's showed you who he is, and you didn't believe him, basically.
I can't believe these lions are eating my face. Yes.
Oh, yeah. And now you all are upset about trusting somebody who told you who he was. It's bananas to me.
Yeah. She talked about the universities are getting funding from Bayer.
What happens when they go to these agro universities, they're getting taught a curriculum that is largely bought and paid for by these agrochemical companies. And so these farmers leave the universities thinking that the only option that they have for farming is using these chemical inputs.
As someone who came from a land grant university, Oregon State University is a land grant university. I was interested in that. And when I hear something like that, it sticks in my head. And so I researched it. And Oregon State University, who I would have thought got money from Bayer, did not. I researched what states and colleges are receiving money from Bayer. And, Texas Tech was one of the largest. I believe they received like $22 million. And they built a plant and lab. And people are like, oh, that's going to influence how scientists do their research. But most scientists I've met, the only thing that influences their research is like, what research can I do and who can I tell about this? It's like scientists aren't trying to keep secrets from anybody. Most of them are trying to tell everybody that they'll ever listen about their small little thing they're researching. And it's like, it's pretty awesome how they like to do that. But, Bayer gave me $1 million to find something. And it's like, I didn't find it. Sorry. That's how most of the scientists I've seen. And the research that they want them to do has led to things like Roundup resistant corn. I believe they just started with wheat was another one that they've just created and got approved. And so, yeah, Bayer is funding some research, but it's not the way that people are thinking about it.
Interesting. And what do you think about farmers going to these universities and learning from Bayer-influenced professors?
Most farmers learn on the job. Most farmers are not, I want to be a farmer, and so my path is I'm going to go to school and then purchase 10,000 acres of corn and then start farming. Like that's not how most farmers think. Most farmers are multi-generational. Like my farm has been several generations. And most of these big farms have, I marry Ginny from next door and Ginny has a farm and then we combine our farms. And that's how a lot of these farms have become so large in the Midwest. And so farming families are a big thing. And so, they've become corporations because of tax reasons. And so they've incorporated or became companies, LLCs, etc. But most people aren't starting out, hey, I want to become a farmer. And so my next logical step is I should go to college. Like that's literally one of the things that we talk to kids about. There are other paths beyond college. If you want additional skills, I went to college and I was not planning on becoming a farmer. I ended up becoming a farmer. I actually was going to be a ag teacher for high school. Was my original plan.
Yeah.
And then I took some classes in college and I was going to change from ag teacher to ag law because I really enjoyed law. And then COVID happened. My dad got sick and I ended up being a farmer. But that's, most traditional paths are not, I'm going to go learn about farming and then, the only way to plant corn is to plant Bayer corn that's Roundup ready. And now I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
And she and all the other MAHA folks really love the farmers. This is nothing about the farmers. This is just what the farmers learn.
I love farmers.
Of course.
Love farmers.
Yeah, of course.
I'm in support of farmers. I'm on your side.
What do you think about all the MAHA love for farmers and what they've been saying about farming techniques?
There's got to be a disconnect. Like there is a love for farmers on conservatives. Conservatives they idolize the, hardworking, this is, how people should be. They should be out there with a hoe, tilling the ground and that kind of stuff. I do understand that. And I do believe that.
We need to give them resources. We need to give them money to get them off the chemicals so they're not dependent on these chemicals. So they start farming regeneratively, start putting money and resources and education into the farmers to teach them how to do it another way.
But at the same time, to think that, hey, I'm smarter than, I'm a beef farmer. I'm not the smartest beef farmer. I don't think I'm smarter than the beef farmer who's next door to me. Like to think that I'm smarter than the crop guy who's, 10 miles down the road. I don't think that. But to think, I have a podcast and I'm smarter than all these people because I read 2 articles.
Maybe.
Like maybe, yeah.
Honestly, I meant maybe 2 articles. Like they watched the documentary is what happened.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't feel that way. I don't feel like that's how the world works. the chances of you being smarter than every farmer probably pretty slim.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it is. Like, there are some really smart people. I always tell people the only dumb farmers aren't the ones that are farming anymore.
Oh,
You can't be a dumb farmer and continue farming. There's an incredibly narrow margin in farming. And if you're not adapting and not changing, then you're not going to be farming tomorrow.
Regarding farming, both Leslie and Jeff Hutt, who I interviewed forever ago and who got a lot of people on board with MAHA, was like, we want clean soil, we want regenerative soil. You sent me a text about regenerative soil. What are your thoughts on that one?
So, one, she said that in her podcast, we are burning out the soil or something. I don't remember exactly how she phrased it, but we have 40 plantings left in our soil.
Actually, if you look at it from a long-term lens, there's a lot of ecologists that are theorizing now, they are not theorizing. What's the word? What's the word? I don't have the word for it, but they're saying that we have it's got to be about 45 harvests left now, meaning that if we continue down this path where we're just continuing to kill our soil and it's becoming dead.
That's an amazing claim, because 40 years from now, no one's going to remember her saying this. So you can make whatever claim you want about, in 40 years, the sun's going to burn out, and prove me wrong. We're going to have to wait 40 years to figure this out. But two, like, regenerative farming is an overused term.
Okay.
In the U.S., most of our farming practices are regenerative because, again, when I talk about farming, I don't just talk about myself on my small farm of 200 acres. I usually talk about the Midwest. There are people out there that are farming 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 acres, huge farms. You can't burn through that soil and be like, oh, I'm going to get everything out of it and then move to a new place. The ag land is decreasing every year. Like, there's studies, there's statistics all on the USDA website about how much ag land we lose every year. However, our yields are increasing. And non-regenerative farming you would see in some place like South America, where they are planting monocrops.
Okay. And
then they are stripping that soil, and then that soil is never meant to support corn, soybeans, whatever crop that they have there. And then they are moving to strip the next section of rainforest and do that. And land is readily available because it's cheap, and all you have to do is cut down a rainforest. I say that, because that's what they have done in the past. I think there's been a huge movement against that, and I'm pretty sure they've slowed that down quite a bit. But the regenerative farming, most farming in the U.S. is regenerative. Like, if I have my 200 acres and I do what I have to and burn through it, I can't go find a new 200 acres and be like, oh, well, I killed all the soil. That makes zero sense. Like, everyone who is farming wants their soil healthy. They want their plants to do good. They want their crop to do good. Whether that be soybeans, corn, cows, whatever you're farming in the U.S., you want it to do good. And so, yeah, that's an overused term about regenerative farming, and we're not using these practices. And, there's a lot of people that have spread this, we need to do regenerative farming, and a lot of them have podcasts and write books about it. And, I've gone to conferences that were put on by the Extension Service, and it was fascinating to me to go there and listen to someone who is farming in Montana on 1,000 acres and can farm less cattle than I can, but they have totally different farming practices because their annual rainfall is 7 inches.
Yeah.
And I got 7 inches last week. And so, that's a totally different farming practice to be like, oh, well, everyone should use this farming practice because it's regenerative. That doesn't work. Even farming here in Oregon, we have places like Burns, which is high desert. Yeah. And then you have places like the Rogue Valley, which is mountainous valley. And then you have places like the coast, which is coastal. And all these different weather patterns and irrigation and all these different considerations you have to take in. There is no cookie cutter of regenerative farming. It's sort of like, we use ultra processed foods it's like, well, what's the definition of ultra processed foods? Like, what's the definition of regenerative farming?
Oh.
Like, yeah.
Interesting. I love that. That it's so clear to me, and I hope for other folks. All of that is super helpful. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Another question for you. Did you know that supposedly glyphosate is showing up in over 80% of Americans' urine?
Not before I listened to this podcast. I did not. I'm really not sure who's testing like 80% of the world's urine. Mm-hmm. Realistically, you probably could if you went to the waste factories and tested the waste factories.
Love it, yes.
But that just seems like a really weird statistic to focus on.
Mm-hmm. Like glyphosate is in our body. We can't tell if it's in 80% of everyone's urine specifically, but we're not necessarily denying that it's there for some people, right?
Yeah. Like, but it's, again, and she's like, oh, well, this no longer has the dose makes the poison. I'm like, what do you mean you can't just say that you can't just dismiss that.
This is not the dose makes the poison. Good luck avoiding any of those things.
Yeah, it's impossible.
It's impossible.
You really can't. Yeah.
It's no longer dose makes the poison kind of situation because we can't avoid them.
That isn't how this works. You can't just be like, oh, the dose makes the poison no longer works. It's like, yes, it does. That 100% does. It always will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I see studies of whether or not AMPA and glyphosate are connected to cancer rates, and again, it's always connected. Well, it's not always connected, but a lot of time it is a connection. It's folks in very ag heavy areas. It's in the California Valley here, where even if you aren't eating it, right, you're in an area where it is sprayed, and therefore, like it is likely in higher concentrations in urine for a variety of reasons, but it's like that's dose, right? And in those, and in those studies, it is like the people with higher concentrations of glyphosate in their urine are more likely to have X, Y, or Z thing. And I'm like, so the people who don't are at least like that sounds like a dose.
Yeah. As well as, again, she references, bears paid billions of dollars in settlements. Yep. That's understandable. But a settlement does not prove a causational link. Mm-hmm. A settlement just is, there is more than a 51% chance that the jury says, yes, this could be linked. Mm-hmm. That's all the lawyer has to do. They have to present 51% in these class action type settlements. Mm-hmm. And, it's listed, she's like, it's listed as a possible carcinogen. Yes, it is. Right. But it's not listed as a carcinogen. It's listed carcinogenic. It's listed as a possible. So is red meat. So is wood smoke. Alcohol. I mean, there's so many other things that are also listed as possible carcinogenic.
Yeah, when I walk into coffee shops now, at least in California, it'll say like some products in this facility are known to be, may cause cancer. And I'm like, where is that thing in this shop? Am I going to leave here? Or what is it? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So possible carcinogenic, I mean, fermented foods, there's still fermented foods that are made traditionally without refrigeration that are possibly carcinogenic. They do this in order to stoke this fear of, it's causing cancer. And but there's so many other things on that same list that they're like, we're just going to skip over all those and focus on Bayer and Monsanto. And they talk about the farmer. I have an organic farm here and you have a traditional farm across the street. Yeah. And then there is some cross-pollination. Yeah. That's one of the things she talked about. So Monsanto, when it still existed before Bayer purchased it, they had a horrible PR guy. Like, I don't know who was in charge of their PR. He was horrible about it because they went in with a hammer every time that like something was broken and tried to fix it with a hammer. That was like their only tool. Mm-hmm. And it was horrible publicity because, you're over here, you're farming 1,000 acres, I'm over here farming, 10,000 or 100,000 acres conventionally, and your crop gets contaminated. And so then Monsanto comes in and they're like, oh, you have a GMO corn and you save seed from it. And so now we're going to sue you. And so that looks like we're picking on the little guy. What has happened is people have gone and purchased so if in order to purchase Monsanto corn, you have to sign an agreement. Hey, I will not replant this. I will purchase additional Monsanto corn. So you cannot save seed from that because it is patented.
Yes.
Okay. So what has happened is people have gone out and purchased livestock feed, soybean, corn, etc., and planted livestock feed. It is still if it's not cracked corn, if it's whole corn or whole soybeans, you can plant that. And then they have sprayed it. And so once you spray it, whatever is left is Roundup Ready corn.
Interesting.
And then they have harvested that Roundup Ready corn and replanted it, which is a direct violation. But what it looks like on paper or on social media is, oh, hey, look at Monsanto coming after this poor farmer who just happened to, with wind drift, only get this one section of corn. And so he's over here, this poor little guy. And that's not always the case. They've proved that in court. But they didn't do any public relations, and memes get shared all the time about, oh, Jimmy's over here and Monsanto came after his whole farm just because of this reason. And that's not always the case.
Interesting. Because that is the documentary I saw. I feel like that was the Food Inc. documentary. And yeah, just to be clear, I'm defending zero corporations here. Because that's aligned with my values to not support a corporation. So I think
I can get behind not supporting corporations for the right reasons. If you want to talk about their pay structure, their stock buybacks, all these other reasons not to support corporations. Yes. But to be oh, they're an evil corporation because they're doing this. It's no, they're evil because of other reasons. I'm 100% behind that. Yeah, but I don't feel like we've done so much research to try and help humanity. At the same time, both can be true. Yeah.
I mean, I think capitalism is the problem. I know that in previous podcasts, you've mentioned that you're a capitalist and we live here. So of course you are. But yeah, blaming a corporation for participating in capitalism seems weird to me. I don't know. That's just me.
I joke about being a capitalist. I am, but at the same time, it has its limits. I'm 100% for socialist medicine. I personally have VA medicine.
Exactly.
I don't feel like people should go in debt and lose their livelihoods because they had to have surgery or because I saw them get in an accident and I called an ambulance and now it's oh, hey, guess what? You have $40,000 in debt. Yeah. Again, stock buybacks. I'm way off tangent. Anyways.
No, I think it's relevant, right? We have bills to pay doing the things that we do. And that's different, I feel, in a corporation, but it seems like the corporation is winning the capitalism game. Okay, again, off tangent. And then we're mad at them because they figured out a way to put profit before people. What did you expect? What did you expect?
I get it.
It's fine.
But again, I just don't see all these evil scientists. Have we had evil scientists in the past? Yeah, 100%. The U.S. imported them after World War II. And she was oh, well, Roundup was what'd she say? Bioterrorist, biochemical.
Anyway. Let me look. Let's get it right. Okay. I'm just going to read the last sentence. Some of these chemicals are very similar in chemical makeup to what they were using as Nazi nerve agents in World War II.
That's such a broad,
You and I looked it up. We'll just say it beforehand. We could not find it.
We couldn't find anything.
No.
Is it
Bayer was in Nazi Germany, but as a German company, but glyphosate coming as a grand holocaust for us because of a Nazi production seems a little a little far-fetched.
It's just a huge stretch. It's like, the chemicals could be the same as a nerve agent because it attacks the part of the plant and it breaks it down. There's a possibility. I don't know. I'm not that level of scientist, but to just throw that out there and just like have zero backing of, oh, well, look how close it is. Look how close water is to peroxide.
Yeah,
like,
hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah, it's like, and one's deadly if you drink it, and the other one you have to drink. And so,
similar in chemical makeup.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Interesting. I'm going to take a trip back up to our urine, yours and mine, and 80% of other folks' urine. At the same time, when she's talking about how glyphosate is everywhere, one of Courtney Swan's most recent reels on Instagram is about all the glyphosate-free finds at Costco.
These are my favorite finds at Costco. I have been a huge fan of Primal Kitchen's buffalo sauce ever since it came out. It's really good. It's great for putting on chicken wings. I don't eat oats a ton, but if you do, this is a great option. These are my favorite oats, and I'm so happy that they have them at Costco because they are glyphosate residue free. Another favorite find, 7 Sundays, also glyphosate residue free.
I'm like,
how can it be glyphosate free if it's everywhere?
According to your argument, like what I buy at Costco that's glyphosate free is not going to matter, but for you, it's.
I mean, unless they're using distilled water in every single thing they're using, and like if it's in our drinking water, is what they're claiming. The drinking water is probably one of the things they use in most of these products, and so how can it be Roundup free if that's true? And it's. Yeah, that just makes no sense to me these are the only ones that also happen to sponsor her, I'm sure, but yeah.
Could it be?
Take something to support your liver health. Take something like Body Bio PC that will help your body get some of the glyphosate out.
Could it be that she had sponsors during this podcast? Could it be that she aligns with companies that are curing our inflammation that is caused by glyphosate?
She did say at the end, oh, hey, this is one of the supplements that will help with detoxing your body if you and it's one of her sponsored things at the very end of the podcast. And I was like, okay, it was just getting a little deep to me for that at that point. It's like, okay, that just seems like a lot. What a coincidence.
We're shocked.
Yeah.
Another quote. And it is like, I've been fighting for this since 2011. Like, I've been in this, we're going to mobilize. Everybody should be coming to this People versus Poison rally. So I just wanted to say that because it is not my intention to cause fear in people, it's just incredibly important that we are aware of all of this. Because the more people that stand up and speak out, the better opportunity we have to actually fight this. Not causing fear.
But her whole podcast was about you should be afraid.
That's fair. What do you see in your farming Facebook groups about glyphosate? Like, are folks typically on the same page as you, or are they picking up on the, like, we all need to stop using Roundup, whatever?
So 90% of my Facebook groups and Instagram, etc., like social media groups, are small farms.
Okay.
And small farms are against glyphosate, on Facebook at least. Like, I don't know how they are personally, but there's an old expression, organic means that I spray at night. Basically, yeah, like, are they actually against it, or are they just, that's what your customer wants to hear? Large farming, like I'm in, again, I said 90%, so the other 10%. Large farming is not. Large farming is for it. They're for prices are down on corn, prices are down on soybean because of some weird trade deal that happened earlier this year. I don't want to mention who was in charge of that whole trade deal, but they can probably figure it out. Yeah. So, yeah, corn and soybean prices are down, and so these farmers are wanting to get more bushels per acre and maximize their harvest, because if I can get 10,000 bushels instead of 9,000 bushels that could make up that pay gap of that, wonderful trade deal left open. And so, yeah, like they are 100% for Roundup. If a executive order
Yes.
was passed banning glyphosate by Republican, Democrats, whoever, I could not see them winning any of those Midwest states again. There's no way they could pull that rural community that is so invested in farming if you ban Roundup. It becomes such a tool without an alternative.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the alternative is. Like I'm not that smart on that level.
Sure.
And so, yeah.
I am putting together right now that those farmers and MAHA voted for the same person, right?
Statistically, yes. Most of them voted for Republican. Most of them have voted Republican in the past and will in the future. You see red states staying red, and there has been some states that have really surprised me in the past. I love reading about politics only in that, like, I hate reading about politics in like the political aspect. I love reading about like the statistical aspect about it and how states like Texas and Georgia and Alaska are starting to, purple, possibly flipping blue, and what's driving that. That kind of stuff fascinates me. The actual like political discussions, like most of it just nauseates me. It's like, oh my gosh, why is there no, again, off on my own tangent, why is there no crossover anymore of, hey, I put forth this bill, you're a Democrat, you put forth that bill, and then we find a common ground in the middle instead of my party controls, and so we're going to only pass this. And there's no compromise anymore. And even like when bills need votes from across the aisle, it still doesn't feel like there's compromise. It just feels like sooner or later you're going to give and you're going to vote for my bill instead of, hey, I want this concession.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So I will be attending the People versus Poison rally on April 27th. The website says enough is enough. We do not consent to being poisoned any longer. While we're fighting for our health, our government is fighting for the corporations that are poisoning us. You and I have discussed how indeed they voted for that earlier. I will be there. Are there any questions that you would like me to ask of people who show up? Are there things that I should be listening for? Courtney Swan said that she would be speaking there. My guess is the food babe will as well. Things that I should be asking, things that I should be listening for. Anything or?
One of the things that's, everybody's like, oh, this is a nonpartisan movement. I would really like to know how nonpartisan it is. Like, okay, so you're saying this is nonpartisan. You voted for Donald Trump. So who voted for someone else? And how nonpartisan actually is it?
Okay. I want to know what people thought they were voting for. And I want to know why people were surprised. Courtney Swan said she was blindsided. Other people said they've been let down. Leslie said, this is not what we voted for. I don't know how that's possible.
Yeah, like I can't believe the leopards ate my face. Like I just, it's constantly there. Of I can't believe that he would do this. It's like I'm never surprised. There's outrageous posts once in a while on Facebook, Instagram, etc., and I actually have to fact check them these days instead of just dismissing them. Like, oh, he would never say that. It's like, oh. I remember 10 years ago 12 years ago, oh, well, Hillary said this or Obama said that. And I'd have to fact check it. I was like, is that real? Like, that's not how they said it, or they said it out of context. And now it comes straight from his social media account.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah. And it's like, holy smokes. He posted a picture of him as Jesus the other day. And then he's trying to claim that, oh, I was a doctor. And I'm like, bro, I saw your post. Like that was not that was not a doctor's outfit you were wearing.
Yeah.
And so,
constantly telling us who he is. And did you know you were voting for this? Okay, so is it actually partisan? I think that'll be an interesting thing to listen for during the rally for sure. Yeah.
Outside of his, what actions?
Ooh, okay. I'm listening.
Did Donald, so what actions in Donald Trump's first term led you to believe that he was going to take these actions that he said in his second term? Okay, so he's against corporations, or he's against Bayer, or he's going to ban Roundup. What actions in the first term made you think that this is one of the campaign promises he's going to keep in the second term?
What role did you think RFK Jr. was actually going to have? I don't know.
Yeah, he's Secretary of Health. Is that correct?
Yeah. Health and Human Services.
Yeah. And it's the guy literally has the biggest mouthpiece to the president. Every time you see a photo op with the president, he's there. And how is he not getting, this was one of the things he ran on when he was doing it. Yeah, Bobby Kennedy did. And it's how is this not an issue still? And why did he bend the knee so quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, before we leave, can you throw in your thoughts about cuts to SNAP and what the government is telling us about poor people and their food choices?
SNAP is one of the best programs. As a farmer, most of that money comes directly to farmers, especially with us. Me personally, I hate the fact that they're thinking about cutting SNAP. There's programs here. If a customer has access to SNAP through the Josephine County Farm Collective, and Jessica has access to SNAP. If she signs up for the Josephine County Farm Collective, she automatically gets 50% off of every product they have listed. There's matching programs and all these kind of programs for people to get farm direct foods. And it's been an amazing program. And to say, hey, we're going to cut SNAP and decrease the amount of choices you have, that's, why am I deciding what's healthy? Why am I deciding, hey, maybe you get a candy bar once in a while? That's such a weird hill to die on to me. Yeah, it's and even sugar and corn syrup are both agriculture products.
Yeah.
All the products that are in there, hazelnuts, peanuts, all that stuff comes from an agriculture product. And just because you have deemed it unhealthy, which I get, you shouldn't eat a candy bar 24/7.
Right.
I've been a product of that before, and it didn't work real well for me. At the same time, I don't feel like we should just restrict people's access to food, especially, people in larger cities. They talk about food deserts, and I can go outside my door and harvest a cow. You probably can't do that. There's a huge difference in, and it all comes back to that, what works for farming here doesn't always work for farming there. It's the same concept with food. That may be the only food you have access to. I have, there are places where the local gas store is the only place that sells any sort of food product at all.
Yeah.
Within 40 miles.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's all you have access to right now. And that's such a crazy thing to me to say, hey, you can't do this, you can't do that, just because I've decided no. SNAP has been great. I know that there's so many kids on SNAP. There's so many women and children. They're talking about cuts to WIC as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's elderly, disabled women, children, single moms. These are our most vulnerable populations. We've said time and time again, and everybody's oh, we just need to, crack down on them because so-and-so bought a steak and I can't afford a steak. And it's that's not, why are you taking something away from them instead of being hey, why can't I afford a steak?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Seems like an easy question.
It bugs me.
Same.
I don't feel like there should be cuts to SNAP.
Oh. Okay. Right. No, I don't have access to a cow until you give me one.
Well, I did just get my bull semen tested, and he was not prolific. And so if you really want to know, his scrotal size was outside of breed standard as well.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Okay. No, I was really sad. That's Wallace. That's my pet cow. And so I was pretty sad.
Okay.
So,
that's your pet cow?
Yeah, that's the Highland, the Scottish Highland.
Oh, yeah, the furry one.
Yeah.
Yes.
My emo cow. And so, yeah. So he's probably going to go down the road now. But anyway.
And by down the road, he means California in my backyard.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, great. Great. Alicia's going to love it. Every time I bring it up to her, it's not a hard no, which is fascinating to me. It's like, we don't have the space for it. It's never just like, no, we're not getting a new dog. It's like, well, we just don't have the space for a cow.
So they have micro minis. Micro mini cows are breed standard is less than 34 inches at the shoulder, I believe.
Okay.
And so those are tiny cows. Like you could have a house cow.
I think that I might be able to argue that one if we move to a bigger backyard. I see it.
Cows are smart enough you can potty train them. So there you go.
There's my future.
There you go. House cow.
Trampus, thanks for coming back on the show.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
I hope to have our former in-residence back soon, perhaps to discuss whether or not the folks rallying at the Supreme Court are truly nonpartisan. Courtney Swan said that she's planning to speak. The food babe is on the same list, as is someone from Turning Point USA. A bit more on that executive order. It's titled Promoting the National Defense by Ensuring an Adequate Supply of Elemental Phosphorus and Glyphosate-Based Herbicides. One quote is, given the profit margins growers currently face, any major restrictions in access to glyphosate-based herbicides would result in economic losses for growers and make it untenable for them to meet growing food and feed demands. People have most qualms with the immunity portion of the executive order that prevents Bayer from being sued. One of my favorite parts of the executive order is the line that says the Secretary of Agriculture will consult with the Secretary of War to determine the proper nationwide priorities. I'm certain that no one would be less qualified than Pete Hegseth to do these things. Following Trump's executive order, RFK Jr., who, when running for president, campaigned on his legal history helping secure a $289 million jury verdict against Monsanto, had the option to stay silent. But he chose the opposite and posted a long message to social media, which included the line, quote, "Our children deserve a food system that protects and strengthens their health," end quote. So again, we're reminded that Make America Healthy Again was for Republican votes. The People versus Poison rally is on the same day that Monsanto versus Durnell will be heard by the Supreme Court regarding whether Monsanto has a duty to warn its customers of an increased cancer risk from the Roundup herbicide. Trump has expressed support for Bayer in this case, and truly no one should be surprised, but some still are. And an interesting update for 2026 is that a journal article from 2000 that was ghostwritten by Monsanto was retracted. The paper was falsely presented as the work of people other than its actual authors to support the claims of the safety of glyphosate, and then it was widely cited. Calls for its retraction had gone on for years, and then in February of this year, the same month as Trump's executive order, it was. Perhaps this retraction could be seen as a MAHA win, but in the face of Trump's executive order and potential immunity from Monsanto, now Bayer, I wonder what the outcome will truly be. Whew. I'm not sure what next week's episode will be. It may be a re-release or some notes from the trip. Either way, I hope you will make it awkward until then. This has been Jessica Wilson. You've been listening to Making It Awkward. This is supported by Patreon members. You can join the Patreon linked in the show notes. You can write a review. You can rate the show, subscribe. Yeah, come be awkward with us. This show is edited by Jen Jacobs, who also wants a micro mini cow. This is supported by the Legacy of Sacramento Outboard Services.